Cleary Presents, a unique look at Northwest Arkansas with music, interviews, drama, and personalities. And now, here's Mike.
Welcome to Mike Cleary Presents. This is a production of Bella Vista Community Television. Go west, young man, go west. That was an expression first used by John Lane Soule in the Terre Haute Express in 1851. It appealed to Horace Greeley, who rephrased it slightly in an editorial in the New York Tribune on 13th of July, 1865. And he said, "Go west, young man, and grow up with the country." The phrase captured the imagination of clerks, mechanics, and soldiers returning from the Civil War, many of whom moved west to take up a homestead. I grew up singing folk songs as a kid. Perhaps you did too. And yet, I didn't really know where most of those songs came from or what they were about. Well, here's a little history and background to a few of America's most famous folk tunes, specifically ones dealing with westward expansion. Oh, I come from Alabama with a banjo on my knee. I'm going to Louisiana, my true love for to see. Stephen Foster, in 1846, moved to Cincinnati, Ohio, and became a bookkeeper with his brother's steamship company. While in Cincinnati, Foster wrote, "Oh, Susanna," possibly for his man's social club. It rained all night the day I left. The weather, it was dry. The sun so hot I froze to death. Susanna, don't you cry. Oh, Susanna, oh, don't you cry for me. For I come from Alabama with my banjo on my knee. The song was first performed by a local quintet at a concert in Andrew's Eagles Ice Cream Saloon in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania on September 11th, 1847. It was first published by W.C. Peters and Company in Cincinnati in 1848. I had a dream the other night when everything was still. I dreamed I saw Susanna, she was coming over the hill. The name Susanna may refer to Stephen Foster's deceased sister Charlotte, whose middle name was Susanna. A red, red rose was in her cheek, and a tear was in her eye. I said to her, "Susanna, girl, Susanna, don't you cry." Stephen Foster earned just $100 for this song, but its popularity led to the publishing firm Firth Pond and Company to offer him a royalty rate of 2 cents per copy of the sheet music sold, convincing him to become the first fully professional songwriter in the United States. Oh, Susanna, oh, don't you cry for me. Well, I come from Alabama with my banjo on my knee. Well, after its publication, Oh, Susanna quickly became known as an official theme of the 49ers, with new lyrics about traveling to California with a washpan on my knee. Oh, Susanna, oh, don't you cry for me, for I come from Alabama with a washpan on my knee. not exactly the same. In January 1848, gold was discovered in Coloma, California, and the California Gold Rush was on. By August of 1849, over 100,000 people were heading to seek their fortune in this uncivilized territory. In a canyon, excavating for a mine, lived a miner, 49er, and his daughter, Clementine. The term miner 49er was coined as a prospector panning for flakes of gold in the Sierra Nevada mountains of California. Most of the miners were men, though a few brought their families along to help pan for gold. With the unbalance of so many men and so few women, females were indeed a rarity. Light she was, just like a fairy, and her shoes were number 9, wearing boxes without topses. Sandals were for Clementine. It is unknown how old the miner's daughter Clementine actually was. How old do you think she was? Drove she ducklings to the water every morning just at 9, stubbed her foot onto a splinter, fell into the foaming brine. Well, here's the question. What was the age of consent for a girl to get married during the California Gold Rush? The answer is 10. In 1849, a girl could be legally married in California at the age of 10 years old. Although in 1880, it was raised to the ripe old age of 12. Ruby lips upon the water, blowing bubbles soft and fine. But alas, I was no swimmer, and I lost my Clementine. Oh, my darling, oh, my darling, oh, my darling Clementine, you are lost and gone forever, dreadful sorry Clementine. As with many folk songs, verses were continuously added along the way, and nobody knows where many of them came from. Many of these verses are pretty silly and just downright absurd, perhaps created as amusement by folks sitting around a campfire on a cold and lonely evening. On a hillside by a chapel where the myrtle browse and thyme grow the rosies and the posies, fertilized by Clementine. And some of the verses of the song can be pretty gruesome. In my dreams, I still can see her wearing clothing soaked with brine, while in life I used to kiss her. Now she's dead, I draw the line. This last verse was presumably added by musician Percy Montrose in 1884. Listen, Boy Scouts, to my story, heed the warning while there's time. Artificial respiration could have saved my Clementine. Oh, my darling, oh, my darling, oh, my darling Clementine, you are lost and gone forever, dreadful sorry Clementine. As I was walking down the street, down the street, down the street, a pretty little gal I chanced to meet, and she was fair to see. Oh, Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight? Come out tonight, come out tonight. Buffalo gals, won't you come out tonight and dance by the light of the moon? Buffalo gals. Sounds a little like something from the Wild West, like cowgirls, right? Well, actually, it refers to gals in Buffalo, New York. The song was written and published as Lovely Fan in 1844 by John Hodges, who performed the song as Cool White. Because of its popularity, minstrels altered the lyrics to suit the local audience. So it might be performed as New York Gals in New York City, or Boston Gals in Boston, or Alabama Girls in Alabama. I danced with a dolly with a hole in her stocking, and her heel kept a knocking, and her toes kept a rocking, and I danced with a dolly with a hole in her stocking. We danced by the light of the moon. By the way, Buffalo Gals spelled backwards is Schlegelafub. I just thought you'd like to know. Just saying. Buffalo Gals, won't you come out tonight? Come out tonight, come out tonight. Buffalo Gals, won't you come out tonight and dance by the light of the moon? Members of the Western Writers of America chose Buffalo Gals as one of the top 100 Western songs of all time. Did you ever hear tell of sweet Betsy from Pike, who crossed the wide mountains with her lover Ike? Sweet Betsy from Pike. It's an American ballad about the trials of a pioneer named Betsy and her lover Ike, who migrated from Pike County, probably Pike County, Missouri or Illinois, to California. This is a Gold Rush era song with lyrics written by John A. Stone in 1858. With 2 yoke oxen, a large yeller dog, a tall Shanghai rooster, and 1 spotted hog, singing tooralai, 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 yay, singing tooralai, 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 yay. The term Betsy and Old Betsy were common frontier nicknames for rifles. Poet and scholar John Ciardi theorized that the song was originally a comic tribute to a rifle, portraying it as a pioneer's trusty but fiery companion. He suggested that amended versions, sung by countless people, and eventually turned it into a song about a real woman. One evening quite early they camped on the Platte. They laid down their blankets on a green shea flat, where Betsy sore-footed lay down to repose. With wonder I gazed on his Pike Country rose, singing tooraloi, 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 yay, singing tooraloi, 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 yay. I feel my Irish coming out when I sing that song. The melody is the tune of an Irish song, Master McGrath, which made its way to America after the great potato famine of Ireland. It's also that of the ballad Villikins and his Dinah. They swam the wide rivers and crossed the tall peaks and camped on the prairie for weeks upon weeks. Starvation and cholera, hard work and their slaughter, they reached California in spite of high water, singing tooralai, 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 yay, singing tooralai, 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 yay. Members of the Western Writers of America chose it as one of the top 100 Western songs of all time. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to see you away, you rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to see you away, I'm bound away. Prior to the 1800s, only adventurers who sought their fortunes as trappers and traders of beaver fur ventured as far west as the Missouri River. Most of these Canadian and American voyageurs in the fur trade era were lonely loners who became friendly with and sometimes married Native Americans. Some lyrics of this song before 1860 tell the story of a fur trader who fell in love with the daughter of the Oneida Iroquois pine tree chief, Shenandoah. Oh, Shenandoah, I love your daughter. Away, you rolling river. For her I'd cross the rolling water. Away, I'm bound away, cross the wide Missouri. Chief Shenandoah did not want his daughter to marry a white man, especially a roaming adventurer. He forbid them to see each other. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you. Away, you rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you. Away, I'm bound away, across the wide Missouri. The song became popular as a sea shanty with seafaring sailors by the mid-1800s. Sailors heading down the Mississippi River picked up the song and made it a capstan shanty that they sang while hauling in the anchor. Farewell, my dear, I'm bound to leave you. Away, you rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah, I'll not deceive you. Away, I'm bound away, across the wide Missouri. Shenandoah continues to be one of the most beloved ballads of star-crossed lovers in American history. 'Tis 7 years since last I've seen you. Away, you rolling river. 'Tis 7 years since last I've seen you. Away, I'm bound away, across the wide Missouri. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you. Away, you rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you. Away, I'm bound away, across the wide Missouri. Of course, there are many more songs of going west, and we only highlighted just a few here on this show. Take some time to explore some of your own favorite folk songs and discover the underlying meaning behind the lyrics and the history to some of our most beloved folks tunes. And that's some of the story behind the folk songs of Go West, Young Man, Go West. This show is a production of Bella Vista Community Television. We're always looking for people to help out in the studio with volunteering, camera operators, studio camera people, talent. Anytime you go on to help to volunteer, contact Bella Vista Community Television. And also, watch the videos on YouTube. And be sure to subscribe to the videos on YouTube so that you'll never miss an episode of one of your favorite shows from Bella Vista Community Television. Thank you for tuning in to Mike Cleary Presents. I'm Mike Cleary, and have a great day.
Thanks for joining us today. Watch our schedules for the next program or check us out on YouTube. This has been a presentation of Bella Vista Community Television.